Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Liquid Wisdom Podcast, where we take the fear out of everyday life, one episode at a time. So if you're not scared, let's jump into the deep end right now, and please, don't pee in the pool. Hello everyone, welcome back. So glad you could come back and visit. If you were a part of the last time you came to visit, you know, of course, that I spoke on living life, not in service of others, but doing what makes you happy, taking the fear out of it, so to speak. And for this visit and conversation, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I have a longtime friend of mine, we practically brothers, go back almost 15 years, and the amount of hardship this man has had to endure is second to none. Selfless acts of valor and courage all around, as he will explain to you in just a few moments. Longtime supporter of the show, my dear friend and brother, Mr. Rob Shaw. How you doing today, man? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing today?
I can't complain, man. It's great. So glad that you were willing to step in and do this new format to where people who can relate to some of the things that we talk about on the podcast can come in and provide a new perspective on different subjects we've already covered, and the listeners can take solace in all that they're not alone, that other people go through this kind of stuff too, and the more positive aspect, they can take something out of your story and can apply it to their lives. So I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here, man. Like I said, I really appreciate what you're doing, and I stand behind it. I just want to help you help others.
Oh man, I like that. Help me help others. I like that. I might put that on a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, put it on a shirt.
For sure. So, all right. So Rob, man. So for those that don't know you, and because I know you really well, but would you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself, like where you're from and what you do?
Sure. My name is Robert Shaw. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. 8 years in the Army, and as of right now, I'm an IT supervisor for the state. And that's about it in a nutshell. Did mention 30 years old, going on 31, and that's about it.
Okay, well, there's a lot more than his very humble introduction, as you soon find out. So Rob, of course, you, as I told before, you're a very avid supporter of the podcast. You believe in the message, and that's why you're here. And of course, you listened to the last conversation that was had on, living for others, not living for others, and living for yourself.
Absolutely.
And of course you can relate to this in some respects. So what made you begin feeling as if you were living on someone else's terms?
Honestly, it started a long time ago, and
okay.
Didn't really realize it until I got older and started seeing things for what they were. And yeah, like I said, it really started when I was younger. I looked up to a lot of people, friends, family, and really respected what their input was. I looked up to them a whole lot, and they would tell me what I needed to do to become successful and what I needed to do to live a happy life and a wholesome life. And not to say they were wrong by any means. It just wasn't my happiness or my success.
Exactly.
Yes, and I found myself running down a road that belonged to somebody else. I didn't pave my own way. I ran down somebody else's road. And to each his own. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But for me, it wasn't a very good experience for me. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm starting to realize that everything I've done, as far as every accolade and achievement in the U.S. Army or in college or whatever it is that I stepped foot in, I didn't do it for me. I did it because of other people's idea of what success and happiness was. And I end up with a bunch of trophies and medals and plaques and degrees, and don't really care for either one of them. And at 30 years old, that's a hard pill to swallow, to say that all those things were a waste. And I'm not going to say it's a waste, but I'm definitely thankful for them. But if I would have went down my road, it'd be more plentiful and it'd be more enjoyable for me.
No, I can understand. I mean, you, of course, have so much reverence and respect for a lot of people who influenced your life in a lot of ways. So it's easy at times to fall into a situation to where you want to do the right thing, and sometimes it can be to your detriment. And though you have accomplished a lot, of course, during your service in our military, thank you for your service. And of course, you graduated from college despite driving up and down that road, from Florida all the way back to South Carolina
Oh
and
yeah.
back,
Oh
in
yeah.
the same weekends,
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't like over a 2-week stretch of time. This was
Over 4 years.
years that you did this, man.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself, even if that road was on someone else's terms, the fact that you were able to endure that, it shows. Even now at 30, despite it not having that level of happiness and validation that you would feel if it was per what you wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
you can still do it. You can turn around. The fact that you know the difference already shows that you're already well on the path of pursuing what makes you happy, and the discovery of that is going to be even more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
So how did another person influence your mindset towards doing something you didn't love doing? Like, was this person or people? Because sometimes it can be more than one. Were they controlling, manipulative, or did they just feel like they had your quote unquote best interests at heart?
Well, I can say a couple on hand. My grandfather, for sure, he good man and respected
Yeah.
every single thing he said. And he was a older, wise man, but he just came from a different time. And
For sure.
absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely. And his dreams for me were the dreams of success back then. And you're talking about a man in his mid-70s, and you're telling him, hey, I want to go to college and do this and go in the military and do that. And his ideal of success was going to work at a factory or warehouse or something along those lines.
The blue collar working man.
Absolutely, absolutely, because that's what he knew. And
Right.
I couldn't knock him for it, but I couldn't get him to understand my point of view on success for today. And it bothered me a little bit, but I listened to him because, I respect him. And I went on going into the military. I went ahead and did that, and I had a good time. I saw the world. I saw places that a kid from Colombia should have never saw. And
Right.
yeah, and after I came back from overseas at 14, I went to college. Went to Florida, moved to Florida to do so, and he was against that as well. He didn't understand why I had to go all the way down there to get a degree that he, didn't really understand. And I did that, and let's be honest, it was tough. It was really tough. I had
That definitely was not easy.
oh no, not at all, man. I was struggling with grades. I was struggling with not being home all on my own in Florida, moving back and forth between Carolina and Florida because I had military duty to tend to every 3 weeks, and it was taxing on my body. I would drive 7.5 hours to get to either side, and sometimes I would drive from Carolina to Florida and drive into class at 8 o'clock from Carolina.
That same morning.
Yeah, and they didn't understand why I was doing that. I was doing that because I wanted a lane for myself. I wanted to do something that I enjoyed, and I wanted to get a degree in something that I enjoyed. And
Exactly.
back home, they didn't understand it. So my mother and my grandfather had a talk, and he was telling me to just quit. He was telling her that I should quit, and she should talk to me about that, because I was also dealing with financial problems down there too, and it's tough being a college student, especially by yourself.
Of course, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, you pay way more than most in-state college students.
Yeah, man, they really got me, and he told my mom that I should quit, and I wish she never would have told me that. She told me that lit a fire in me that I wish was never lit, because it wasn't the type of fire that you would think as of a motivational fire. That was more of a fire based on anger and just revenge. And I felt let down.
Yeah.
I felt let down. And I said, from now on, I don't care how hard it gets, I'm going to prove him wrong, and whoever else thinks the same as him. And from that moment, I went on a rampage. I mean, I've never seen anybody study angry before. I think I'm the first that studied angry. I was,
right.
yeah, pissed off and angry studying. I mean, listen to Ice Cube, pissed off studying trigonometry.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're definitely gonna be angry than listening to Q.
Yeah, man, listen to Cube
while studying
trigonometry, pissed off, and I ended up graduating and with a decent GPA. But I came home and I said, hey, I did it. I graduated. I got my degree, and I got nothing more than all right, good job. That ain't bad. And I'm thinking to myself, I know I didn't go through all this blood, sweat, and tears
just for that.
That I thought that was supposed to taste a little different, And the reason why it didn't taste good is because I had the wrong motivation behind it. Instead of just thinking on my own and motivating myself for my own personal reasons, I took it out on him because of what he said and what he thought that my life should have been. Him wanting me to go work a blue collar job and work in a factory and all this 9 to 5 stuff, which is fine. That was his idea, and I was mad.
That's not your story.
It's not my story, and I was mad at him because he didn't think I was good enough to finish what I had started.
No, but that's the thing though. Like, and you said something earlier that really stuck out to me. You had ideas of your own that in which you had this plan for the way you wanted your life to go. You're not a bad kid. You keep your head out of trouble. You love your family and friends. You just wanted to, after everything that you've done, you wanted to do something that made you happy.
Absolutely.
So why is it that was there like an absolute refusal from the supporters in your family to understand what you were trying to do, or did they always just, anytime you had something to say like, hey, Rob, I want to do this, and then they say, I want you to do this, did they always have an opinion on everything that you did?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was the oldest grandson, and like I said, I was the oldest out of my four siblings, my sister, and I was pretty much the example at that point because I was doing the things that I was doing, and
the standard bearer, huh?
Yeah, and I never was that. I was always the underdog, like everybody else. The moment I start to flourish and do my own thing, they start to tell me that I should go in a different direction. So once they see that promise, they saw that promise, and they said, "Oh no, you should do that." And I didn't like that, and they would try to put this in. I would turn it back around to prove them wrong that what I want to do will work. And in their mind, it wouldn't work because that's just not what they understood. They didn't care about going to school and all that stuff. They didn't care about, doing these things that were different to them. And it blew my mind a little bit, and it kind of hurt because non-believer in me. And I took every ounce of that, and I did it all to rub it in their face. And then when I turn around and I succeed, it didn't feel like anything to me. It was empty. It was empty success at that point. Empty, because when it was all said and done, it was nothing more than okay, all right, good job, proud of you. Not like oh man, he did it, and this and that, blah blah blah. And to be honest with you,
we're proud of you.
Yeah, to be honest, I really didn't even know what I was even looking for. I was just pissed off, and I was trying to rub it in their face. I wanted them to feel as bad as I did when they told me, or they gave me the indication that they weren't sure if I could do what I was set out to. I wanted them to feel that, and quite frankly, they just really didn't care. And not saying they didn't care about me, it's just they didn't hold that grudge like I did, and they're not going to. And that's what I'm trying to get at. You got to do what's right for you. You have to take your own path. You can't listen to anybody else and take their path. Not to say that their ideas are not good, but they're just not your ideas. They're not your avenues for success and happiness. You got to do what's right
That's
for
true.
you. And
Yeah, definitely. Even if it takes, no matter how long it takes, find your path in life that provides the most fulfillment and security and balance, and most of all, peace
mm,
for you. Your dream isn't everyone else's dream.
mm,
If your dream is to do something that goes against the grain, then by all means, be an innovator, revolutionize it, and push towards it. And so since then, Rob, after this realization and knowing that you weren't pursuing what makes you happy, and you started taking steps to push towards what you want to do, uh, do the people in your life that support you, or the ones you have in your corner, do they lean more towards negativity, or are they leaning towards supporting you regarding your dreams right now?
well, right now they're leaning towards supporting me because now that
Great, that's great.
yeah, now because of what I've said I was going to do back then as a young kid, it started to turn into what looks like success to them. Nice cars, nice family, nice house, nice stuff to put inside of it. So now they can see, the vanity. They can see the materials that represent success, and they can say, "Okay, I support them now. I see it."
Mm,
But when you're telling people my ideas of what success would look like on my career path, what I want to do, and they just hear a bunch of words. But until you produce and start showing the things that represent success and happiness and this and that, then they can say, "Oh, he's doing all right for himself. He's doing all right. Now I can stand behind that."
uh,
And that
I mean,
sucks, man.
yeah, that's a little, that's yeah. Because I was gonna say, it's good to see the results of hard work and that you put in. Of course, I think anyone can agree with that. But to only show support until you see something happening, that's gratification for you. I feel like that is a detriment to a lot of people who do want to pursue things that make them happy. If someone comes to you and say, "Hey, I got this dream, I want to do this," support it from the onset. If that person means anything to you, then you do your very best to support them, whether it be with access to knowledge, networking, financial support if needed, or just an emotional pillar that can build their foundation for their dreams. Don't wait until you see the result of all the hard work. Support them while the hard work is being put in.
Exactly.
That goes a long way in because people like that will remember stuff like that. They'll say, "Wow, I remember even when no one else didn't see it coming, this person or these group of people, they were there for me."
Mm.
And that's what true support is, and that's what encourages people to live life based on their own terms. When you support them, even if you may not agree with it, still find a way within you to compromise and give them the healthy amount of support that they need. And actually, that brings me to a question I had while you were talking about it. Since individuals in the family only waited until they saw the material, acquisitions of the things that you got from your success, are they good with compromise? Like compromising, like let's say falling off their own ideals to uplift yours?
Well, at that point, like I said, I think they are. Honestly, it's not a knock to them. It's just they didn't understand what I was trying to do. They didn't understand my way of making it. They knew what they knew, and that's all they thought. They thought it was the only avenue. And they're definitely supportive. It's just that they didn't understand. And
Okay.
now that they can see what direction I'm going in, now they get it. And it's kind of at that point, So it's no knock to them. They just didn't get it, and I didn't treat it the right way. I didn't continue. I didn't just brush it off and just continue to do it for the right reasons. I did it to get back at them, and that's where I'm kind of sitting right now. And
Okay.
yeah, that's just kind of where I'm sitting right now. So not to misconstrue anything. They, like I said, they're supportive. They just don't understand it, and you know, kind of, not gonna say they kind of forced me to kind of change paths, but they didn't understand my path. So therefore, they tried to derail it or just, you know.
But the most important thing is that you are taking the steps necessary to live on your own terms, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, because
that's all it takes,
yeah,
right there.
absolutely.
A change in mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it took a lot of things for me to realize it. I know I spoke on my grandfather, and
Mm-hmm.
Love him to death, and like I said, I don't understand why you tell my mother that and say those things, but then again, I do. But at the same time, you got to think, hey, this is his life. He's got to figure it out, whether it be the wrong idea or the right idea. He's got to figure it out. I can't chop him down because it could really derail him, or either you know fuel his fire in a negative way, and that's what it did. It fueled my fire in a
Yeah.
negative way, and even going on to friends, man. Like I said, I remember I had a girlfriend back in the day. I know you remember her,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she, I mean, we were doing good, and she
Mm-hmm.
broke up with me because she said I had um, no drive, and just and that hurt me. She said I had no drive, I had no potential, and that hurt me, and
Oh, wow.
I had dreams of doing certain things, and I wanted to coach and do this stuff, and she didn't understand that because her family would push um, the idea of success on her by just plain out money. If it don't make money, it don't make sense, and that's the kind of
Right.
ideal her family had. They pushed that on her, and her dad was a truck driver or whatnot, and he made a pretty good living, and he was able to put them in a big old nice house and on the right side of the train tracks, and all she
Mm-hmm.
knew was good living. That's all she knew, and her mother and father didn't really see that I was going down the path to give her those things, and they got into her head, and she changed and showed her true colors and left, and pretty much told me I had no drive and no potential, and that was that. So from that moment, I did everything I could to prove her wrong. I did everything to become successful, to one day cross paths with her and show her she was wrong. And I did these things, and I succeeded, graduated college. Literally 2 weeks after me graduating, I had found out that she had died. She passed away.
Wow.
You want to talk about feeling bad. You want to talk about
Yeah, that's tough, man.
you want to
It
talk
really
about
is.
an empty success. And I'm sitting there like I really took everything in me to become something to show her she was wrong, and she
Right.
passes away. I've been punching the air at this whole time,
Mm.
punching the air, throwing punches and connecting on nothing. And my grandfather that I spoke of also passed away. So now I'm sitting here. I got all these medals on the wall, all these accolades, degrees, and all this stuff. And I did it out of spite. I did it out of anger. And now I'm sitting here. They're both gone. Not to say they're the only ones that criticized and
Yeah,
doubted.
but they were at different points. They
Exactly.
were very very influential, very important
Yeah,
figures
yeah,
in your
yeah,
life, and in the unfortunate circumstance, as a result from all of the work you put in, though it was on someone else's terms, not your own,
exactly.
is that they unfortunately are no longer with us.
Yeah,
So I understand what you're trying to convey. You only have everyone has an amazing opportunity to try their very best to live life to the fullest extent. That's why it's so very vital
hmm,
when you listen to Rob's story to live life on your terms. Make the most out of what makes you happy. You don't want to spend time trying to please everyone, because you end up lost in the shuffle if you do. No one knows when life is going to come calling and say, your time is up. So that's why you want to spend as much of the time that you have while you're here doing what makes you happy.
that's right.
And Rob, and so now that you've made the very conscious decision and you've taken the steps necessary to start living life on your terms, what changed in your life to was that the change in life that you needed? The unfortunate news of these people passing away, is that what spurred you to make the change to start living on your terms?
Absolutely. Because I know when we had my son's baby shower, which you were at, by the way, and I was walking into the building, and granted, my mom and my aunt, they set all this stuff up, so I haven't stepped foot into this building until the actual day of the baby shower. And it's big, nice
Yeah.
building, big venue,
Oh yeah.
really nice.
Beautiful place. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And I ran into someone, and it blew my mind. I ran into the mother of that girlfriend I was telling you about.
Yeah.
She was one of the managers at the building that did a lot of the booking and whatnot. And I
Wow.
saw her face, and she looked at me, and instantly I'm thinking, okay, this is my moment to show her I became something. This is her moment to show that, I have people in my corner who look up to me and who think highly of me. I have, the money to spend on this big nice venue. Like I said, I
Mhm.
have a beautiful wife with a son on the way. I have these things. I'm successful, and I'm not a waste, like she told her daughter. And I looked at her and said, this is my moment. I want her to look at me and be like, I was wrong. And at this time, her daughter was already gone. And I didn't want to tell her exactly who I was because I thought that she would know. She didn't even recognize who I was. Didn't even know, couldn't pick me out from left to right. And at that moment, I knew that I was fighting a fight that didn't matter because it wasn't for the right purpose. You do all these things to prove people wrong, and in the end, they don't really care. She never cared about what I would turn out to be. She never
Right.
cared about that. She just wanted to know what I could do for her daughter right then. So me turning out to be something, a couple years later, a few years later, and she doesn't even recognize me, don't even know who I am. That was a blow. That was a blow.
So when you had that realization, was it like time stood still? Was it like a catharsis or something? How was that for you when that realization came over
I felt low. I felt empty because here I am all this time, trying to fight to prove that I was right and that I could prove to them that I would be something and be, successful and be able to live the life that they said I wouldn't. Here I am now staring at this woman. Her daughter is gone, the one who made the criticism of me.
Right.
Mother who pretty much fueled that criticism. Here I am staring her in the face looking for some sort of gratification, and she can't even pick me out from a damn lineup.
Damn.
So now I'm thinking to myself, what did I do any of that for? Because I was looking for something, I never got it.
Right.
And
so is that when you started? Is that when I guess that's when the changes started happening. It's like,
Oh yeah.
Let me start doing for Rob. Let me start doing what makes me happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And how did that feel exactly? Because for everyone is different. It's different feelings associated with it. So how did you feel once you started living for yourself on your own terms?
I felt full, man. I felt fulfilled. I felt like I was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I felt like
that's awesome.
Yeah, it felt like I was doing it for the right reason, and I was, and it felt good, man. Like I was doing stuff for me. I was doing stuff for my wife and for my kid. And it's gratifying, man. It really is. And not to say the things I did in life were not what I wanted to do. I did it for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what matters. Doing what makes you happy for the right reasons.
Exactly.
That's the aspect of living on your own terms.
Yeah.
At its base form.
Yeah, I didn't want, like I said, I always wanted to be in the Army. I always wanted to go to college for business marketing. But the enjoyment was sucked away because I was putting too much energy into what other people thought. And I was doing it, every single thing I was doing, every push-up, every injury, every accolade I went for, every test I passed or either failed was because of them and what they said. And I mean, everything I did, I had them in the back of my mind. I want to prove you wrong. That was the drive that I had. And then when you figure out those people, either one, don't give a damn, or two, don't even remember who you are. You realize that
Yeah.
you realize that, damn, I did all that for nothing. I took the hard way. I did all that stuff for absolutely nothing.
Mm,
And it's a painful pill to swallow because
it is.
now I'm sitting here, I'm chasing ghosts. I got that girlfriend I spoke to you about. She didn't even get a chance to see it because she had passed away, and I felt bad because here I am angering at a person who didn't even hear anymore. And then I passed that on to her mother, and she's mourning, over her daughter's loss. And here I am looking for gratification, looking for "I told you so," and that felt bad.
That wow, that's a very sublime situation. Of course, well, it's a very bad situation to be in, but it's sublime that once all this somehow converged together, and collapsed on itself, you're left standing there saying, okay, well, this is a hollow campaign. This isn't something I want to pursue anymore. I want to do what makes me happy.
Exactly.
And it's a very tried and true tale. When you follow a path that someone else directs for you, in the end, yeah, just like with Rob, you can find yourself feeling empty. But there's always a way and a means to change that mindset to do what makes you happy. It's not the end. It's just the end of that particular path, and you can start a brand new one. And when you start that new path for yourself, you may come across some people that may not like it. They may not like the change that you're making. But remember why you started doing this in the first place. You're doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
And actually, and Rob, this question goes for you too. Did you come up against any resistance once you made that change?
Actually, I couldn't tell you because I stopped caring.
There you go.
I stopped caring.
That's the ticket right there. You stop caring. Stop creating validation for what others' opinions are of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an opinion. You can do all the things right in the world, and some people that you come across, no matter what you do, will always try to find the wrong in what you do. And this is beautiful. What Rob said, he stopped caring. He started living for himself. Once you take that away from people, you find that you are endowed with so much strength. It's truly magnificent. And oh man, that just made my night, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. And I take the time to just, realize that, people are going to have their opinions no matter what. They're going to have them whether the days are good or whether the days are bad.
Whether the days are bad. That's right.
And now I'm starting to realize that, you know what, that's fine because I got to do what's right for me. I got to create my own path. And just to caveat, go back on my family. Like I said, I love my family to death. They love me. They just have a different path. They had a different path of success at the time that they understood. I had a new way of doing things, and they didn't understand it, and they had inputs on that. And I took my happiness and turned it into a fuel, a anger-fueled, revenge path. And it wasn't healthy for me because normally when people pass exams and they do these things, they celebrate, they're happy, and they're full of joy. Me, on the other hand, I was looking at it as if, okay, what's next? What's next? What do I have to do to get to the next spot so I can get to the spot after that so I can get this W and then rub it in their face?
So, Rob, before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you the floor for just a little while, and I would like to ask, is there any advice you can give to anyone out there that may be struggling to live life for themselves?
Absolutely. Honestly, you got to do it for you, and I know that's vague, but you have to do what's right for you. And it may not suit others. It may not make a whole lot of sense to others. But at the end of the day, you know what you want to do. At the end of the day, you know what success looks like for you. Success to some may look different. Success may be getting a degree and, doing this or becoming that or whatever it may be. But is that the success for you? And you have to do what's right for you, because if you do what's right for other people, or you do what's ideal for other people to become successful or happy, you're not going to be happy because you did it for them and they are not you. And that's the bottom line. You have to do what's right for you. And there's never a point in life where it's too late to start doing it. So I don't care if you've been working a 9 to 5, all your life, and you're 40 or 50 years old, and you want to do something different. You can always break the mold. You can always step outside of the line and create your own path. It's
Very true.
never too late. If you're 50 something years old and you want to go back to college, do that. If that's what you want to do that. Don't let anybody tell you you're too old. Don't let anybody tell you that it's too late. Don't do that. And if you want to do something that just may not fit the norm, if it's outside of the mold, that's fine. You know the risk and you know the reward, and you know whatever side you end up on, whether you succeed at it or fail at it, you did it for you. I'd rather fail at something that I want to do than to succeed at something that I don't want to do.
Wow, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. I looked up the time, it's already come and gone. Thank you so much, Rob, for coming on and sharing your very deep and heartfelt story of living on someone else's terms and how it's affected you, and the steps you're taking in order to push towards what makes you happy and living life on your terms. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh, anytime, brother. Anytime.
Awesome. So if you guys like it, feel free to let me know on Twitter or however else you would like to, relay information. And if you guys like it, of course, we'll come back and do more of these. You can be with Rob or with other people who may have amazing stories to share. And like I always tell you before our visits are done, you are only a couple of decisions away from discovering your purpose and maximizing your potential. Thank you all so very much for the support you provide this podcast and the message that it has, pushing towards being the best version of yourself. Till next time we meet, I've been your host, Professor Liquid. Take care. All right. Pool hours are over. Don't want you catching the cramp. Tell you what, come on back for a swim soon and we can catch up on life. In the meantime, check me out on Twitter at FormlessLiquid. You can also find this podcast on Buzzsprout and SoundCloud. Just type in Liquid Wisdom Podcast and boom, you're there. Catch you later.